In the winter of 1949, something terrifying happened in Maryland, USA. A 14-year-old boy became the center of the most famous and disturbing stories in American history. We know him today as Roland Doe. That's not his real name. The Catholic Church and media used that name to protect him. His true identity has never been confirmed. But what happened to him was very real and very dark. It started in a normal home. Roland was an only child, quiet, polite, and a little lonely. He spent most of his time with his aunt. She was his favorite person, but she was also different. She liked spiritual things. She believed in spirits after death, and she owned something strange. She owned a Ouija board. She taught Roland how to use it. Together, they would sit in the basement with the candles and try to speak to the other side. But then Aunt Harriet died. Roland was devastated. He missed her deeply downstairs. He lit a candle, sat at the table, and pulled out the board. He placed his fingers on it and whispered, "Aunt Harriet, are you there?" That's when it began. The next morning, the family heard scratching inside the walls. Then it sounded like footsteps walking in the attic. Heavy steps, one after another. They thought maybe it was mice, but pest control found nothing. Then the furniture moved. Chairs would slide across the floor by themselves. A Bible flew off a bookshelf. Once, while Roland was sleeping, his bed began to shake violently. His parents were scared. They took him to a doctor. Then a psychologist. All the tests said the same thing. Roland was healthy. No signs of mental illness, no medical cause, but something was wrong, something they couldn't see. Roland started acting strange. He would get angry for no reason. He'd mutter words in a deep voice that didn't sound like him. He began saying hateful, disgusting things that no 14-year-old should even know. He grew angry at anything holy, the Bible, a cross, even a priest on the radio. Then came the marks. His parents would run into his room at night after hearing screams. They'd find Roland crying, curled up on the floor, bleeding. Deep red scratches appeared on his arms, his chest, and his legs. They looked like they were carved into him. Once the word hell appeared across his stomach. Another time, the word evil showed up, scratched into the skin as if by invisible claws. His mother tried placing a bottle of holy water under his bed. Roland screamed. The bottle flew across the room. He never touched it. At that point, the family gave up on doctors. They turned into churches. They called local priests. Father Albert. Father Hughes agreed to help. He placed his hand on Ronald's head and began reading the Bible. Roland screamed like a wild animal. He broke free from the bed's restraints, reached under the mattress, and pulled out a metal spring. He slashed the priest's arm open. The exorcism was stopped. The family panicked. They packed their things and moved to St. Louis, hoping to escape, but the thing was inside Roland. It followed. They contacted the Jesuits, a Catholic order, and the new priests were sent. Father William Bowdern. They met Ronald in person. They were shocked. He didn't speak like a child. He growled. His eyes were empty. He cursed at them. He spat in their faces, and sometimes he laughed, but not like a boy, like something else was laughing through him. They saw objects fly across the room. A chair moved by itself. Once the bed levitated, the family panicked. They packed their bags and moved to St. Louis, hoping to escape, but the thing was inside Roland. It followed. They contacted the Jesuits, a Catholic order, and two new priests were sent, Father William Bowdern and Father Walter Holleran. They met Roland in person. They were shocked. He didn't speak like a child. He growled. His eyes were empty. He cursed at them. He spat in their faces, and sometimes he laughed, but not like a boy, like something else was laughing through him. They saw objects fly across the room. A chair moved by itself. Once the bed levitated, not lifted by his hands, not tipped, lifted off the floor. Roland spoke in Latin, even though he had never studied it. He said he was possessed. He said his name was Legion, the same word used in the Bible for demons. Every day the priests returned. They brought holy water, a crucifix, and a thick black book called the Roman Ritual. It contains every word needed to drive out a demon. For weeks, they prayed. They pressed the crucifix to Ronald's skin. He screamed in pain. His eyes rolled back, his body twisted in unnatural ways. Scratches appeared on his chest, right in front of their eyes. Once the word "no pray" carved itself across the chest letter by letter, he would grow calm for a moment, and then the attacks began again. The room grew ice cold. The lights flickered, and Ronald would smile, a slow, wide smile. Then he would say in a deep voice, "He's coming." One night he screamed, "He's here." And then suddenly his voice changed. He said, "I am the devil." The priest held him down. They shouted prayers louder and louder. Father Halloran pressed the cross to Ronald's forehead and shouted, "In the name of Jesus Christ, I command you, leave this boy." Roland shrieked like a wild animal. Then silence, his body went still. He opened his eyes and he cried. It was over. The demon was gone. Roland had no memory of what happened. He asked his mother. He asked why they were crying. After that night, he was free. No more voices, no more scratches, no more shaking. The nightmare has ended. Roland went to live a normal life. He even never spoke of the exorcism again. He finished school, got a job, got married. He stayed silent until the end of his life. But the priests never forgot. Father Halloran, years later, said, "I saw things no man should see. I saw a child speak languages he didn't know. I saw evil, and I will never forget it." This was the real story, and it inspired one of the scariest movies ever made, The Exorcist. But the movie version, that was nothing compared to what really happened.